we've covered lots of types like a string, number, non-undefined Boolean. Let's see next one, which is the last one. That's the one I didn't introduce. Okay, if you're interested, take a look at by yourself. Not used quite often. It's called a symbol. I do have a video about that. If you're interested, I can share with you. For symbol is used internally, and this one I didn't introduce here. Okay, if you're interested, I can guide you to understand that one. Object, last one. How to create object in JavaScript? This is the first way. Okay, called object literal. Basically is what? You have a brace, okay? And in the brace between them, you have a key value pairs. Key, which is property name, your name, for last name, password, those things. And the values, they are separate. Don't use the comma, don't use semicolon, use comma to separate them. Last one, there's no need. So also you have this thing, object literal. Literal.js. Suppose I have an object called, and you can use the single quote to quote on the field name or property name. I have a single quote here, right? You can also use double quotes on it, okay? If the string doesn't contain any space, you don't need to have a quote. It also works. Got it? Suppose the field name, you have a empty space. You know what I mean? Like my name. Okay. Hi. Then you have to have a quote. If without a quote, you're gonna have error. You got me? And in this case, you have to have a quote, either single quote or double quote, as you want. Okay.
My name is the variable.
My name, not a variable. We call property or call field. It's like in Java, you have class, you have a first name, last name, private string, first name, private string, last name. Those are the first name, last name, those called a property. We call proper property name. Or you can, some people will call something called or attribute name or field name. You got me? Those are not a variable name, okay? Those are property name, field name, or attribute, whatever you want to call it, okay? But not a variable name, okay? And how to access them? You have 2 ways. Because this is a value, right? So in the value, add the semicolon at the end, same as you const I equals 1, okay? How to access them? Yes, it's not working. Because I have a space between them, and that's not considered as a valid field name. So you have to have a quotes. Okay. If no space, doesn't matter. Okay. But if you have space or special characters, you have to have a quotes there. Okay. Okay. Now, how to access them? 2 ways. First way is called the dot notation. Okay. Dot notation only works for those valid field name, which means the field name doesn't have the space. Okay, so suppose I want to get the 1, the value 1, you can use obj variable name dot x. You got me? And the same thing for the y for the username. You got it? Okay. And you also have another one called the bracket notation. And this is very powerful, more powerful than dot. You can still use bracket to access x. You can still use a bracket to access, like suppose I want to access your name, okay? You can get it. What do you mean? Node object literal. Yeah. Oh, sorry. My bad. Okay. That's nothing I want to introduce. Okay. Bad. you will get one John, right? Make sure when you use bracket, this X, make sure you have quotes there, either double quote or either single quote, doesn't matter, okay? Because you can interchangeable them. But here is a difference, two difference, okay? Here a difference. Suppose now I want to access my name, right? With the dot notation, you cannot do it because you have a space between them. You cannot do like this way. You're gonna have error. You cannot. It doesn't have a syntax support for it. Okay, so this one you cannot do it. Then the only way you can do is what thing? Use a bracket notation. Got me? And this is the one difference. There's another difference. Just now, you see this error, right? See here. X is not defined because use bracket notation, you can make a variable to be here. Suppose I have a variable. Okay. Can see here, I get a John. The reason I have this X, if this one and this one, they're different, okay? This one refers, I'm trying to access a property X in the object. And this one refer to, I'm trying to access, this one referred to as a variable. So the variable equals to what? Username. So you are trying to access your name here. You got a difference? They're different. This one and this one, they are different. Okay. This one refer as a variable. And the variable is your name, so it's the same as you are doing this one. You got me? Okay. And if here I use Y, that means you are trying to access Y here. So you're gonna get 2. Okay. Okay. Here, but with dot notation, always refer as a property. Okay. And now let me show you another difference. Okay. Another thing about object, let me introduce here. Now I ask you to do something like this one. I will just do notation here. Suppose in JavaScript, you ask a property which doesn't exist. In Java, you're gonna get an error, right? You'll get an error. Okay, but JavaScript, no. JavaScript, you will get a popular word, undefined. Okay, if you access any properties which doesn't exist in the property, in the object, you are getting undefined. Okay, and there's another one which I want to show you now is here in JavaScript, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 properties now, right? Suppose I want to add one more. In Java, you cannot do it because you have a preset template, like first name, last name. You cannot add more, right? JavaScript you can do. I just do here, okay? Do here. Okay, so JavaScript, suppose I want to add another property, first name equals John. You can do like this way, okay? When you add a first name equals, when you do like this statement, he will try to see, okay, in the object, do I have first name? If no, I just add one. If it already exists, I will change the value. So here, we will see, you will see the first name is being added. But if I change this one, let me use Edward, okay? We don't have a first name, right? To add, but if I change this one to be username, and it will do what? It will do an update on the property. So that's the thing you have probably different from Java. Here I change to be Edward. You can also use a bracket notation to do the same thing. Type of, you can still use type of on the object. You're gonna get an object here. Type of obj. That's the another type in JavaScript called object. You'll see an object, okay? Anything you have on this object literal. We will have more examples. But I already covered all the scenarios. Okay, for this object literal, we will have a review on here. Okay, we'll see more. JavaScript object again. Object like an associative array, like key value pairs. The key can be any string different from variable names. Okay, you do not need quotes if the key is a valid JavaScript identifier. Don't have a space. Values can be anything, include the functions. So this property, the value is a function. Okay, and now we call this function called methods. We will see function definition later. Okay. You can add any key dynamically, use associative array. Associative array are referring to this syntax, okay? Or use a dot notation. Dot notation is talking about this dot, which is like a dot, add one more, okay? Object properties have functions and they are called methods. Let me explain this one. So in JavaScript, how to define a function? You use a keyword called function and give function name, like this one. Our console.log full. This is how you define a function inside of JavaScript and how to call it. We just call this full. Okay. Now, at last I say full, right? And this is my object, right? Like in Java, object has have a data and also have behaviors. Behaviors are referred to the methods, right? JavaScript, you also have methods. And how to do? Either you can define like this way. Like I will say get username. And this is a function. You got me? This is a function. Just don't have the name because the name is what? The name is a get username. Okay. So how to use it? Same as Java. Use what? Use object dot get username. Okay. Because this function, the name is get username. And when a function inside object, we call method. This we call function because it's not inside an object, and a method, a function inside an object we call method. We'll get to this one more in the future. If else statement, do you want me to explain to you? The only thing here can be choosy falsy. You can put an object, you can put an array, okay, choosy falsy. Other things exactly same as Java, okay? Ask me if you have question, okay? For loop, same.
Can we use ternary operator?
Can we use what?
Ternary operator
Here?
instead of if else?
Yes, you can use with the question mark and two column that thing. You can use, okay. Definitely you can use. But if you have more than or two if else, then you have to use if else. You can also have switch, same as Java, except a choosy falsy part. For loop, do you want me to explain to you? Make sure here use the let of or var, okay. For loop, there's one difference. You cannot do like this way, okay. You cannot do like this thing, okay. You cannot do like you cannot use const on the I. You use let, okay? Because for loop we're gonna assign the value on the I, right? Const means it cannot change, okay? Okay, my best suggestion is using for let. Let act the same as Java. If we use the var, we will explain in the future. Var also work, but outside the for loop, you can still get the var, okay? So use the let, okay? Exactly same as Java. Don't use const. You're gonna get an error. While loop, do same as Java, okay? Just here condition choosy and falsy, okay? Array. JavaScript has several ways to define array. One adjust squared array is very powerful and very weird. Okay. Here, how define array? Ask a question, okay? Any error? Any error? Be confident. No error, right? Because what? I'm not assigning another value to ARR. I'm changing the element in the array, so it doesn't have any error, okay? Even though here I use a const, okay? It's the same as object, okay? I cannot do like this way. You got me? I cannot do this one. I'm going to have error, but this line won't have error because I'm changing the element. Same as Java's. Here is different from array, okay? In Java, array, either integer array or string array, you cannot mix the type, right? JavaScript array, you can mix the type. Suppose, see here, I can have one boolean, not boolean, true object, x is 1, and I can have another array 1 and 2. I can have a string, hi. You can have any type here. You guys, so JavaScript array for the type is not forced. For the type of each element in the array not forced. You can do anything as you want. Okay, put anything. That's another way, thing. Okay, so here actually I define I have two way define array. You can also define array same as like this way. And then you can assign using AR3 dot like 0 equals 1 and 1 equals 2. Okay, this one is called the predefined prefilled array. This is empty array, then use 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 to do. Okay, we do have others. Okay, array also has lots of methods. Okay, let me show you some. Okay, in JavaScript, array is very powerful. Let's go on names. Okay, you can do what? John. I will do John 1, John 2, John 3. Okay. Then here you have a John 1, John 2, John 3. You can also do what? You can also do pop. And when you do it, the push pop will act like what? Stack. Last in, first out. Okay. It also do have another pair called a shift on shift. It will work as a queue. Let me show you. Okay. I will just do 1 and 2 and 3. Okay. And numbers dot shift. This is taking the things out from the beginning. You get 2, 3, right? Which are taking this 1 out, right? You guys are 1 out. The Q is first in, first out, right? So this 1 is first in, right? So it's first out, okay. And it also can have what's thing, on shift. 4. Numbers. You have, see here, when I add 4, push gonna be pushed to the end, but unshift gonna be add in the front, and shift gonna also remove front. Oh no, you should use what's thing? You should use Q is the first thing, first out. But when we add on the bottom, add in the end or the front. So we use a push and shift gonna become a Q. Push gonna push to the end, right? On shift, push gonna push to the end, and shift gonna be removed from front, right? So gonna be become a pair of Q. Got me? Yes, dynamic. You can behind the scene, it will add as many as you want. What Nara asked, because in Java, when we use int I, int array, you have to define the size, right? You got me? But a JavaScript array, even though using this square bracket, is still unlimited. It will do the array copy behind the scene to increase size for you. And array in JavaScript, you do have lots of gotchas. You don't do it, which is like this way. I have some videos. If you're interested, you can take a look at it by yourself in the future. Okay, I just show you one, which is suppose we call countries. Like let's use my country. Here, don't do something like this, right? 0, 1, 2, right? So the next one, I suppose, should be 3, right? But if you give 9, what's the, let's see, I'm not sure if I spell wrong or correct, okay? If it's wrong, blame me, okay? Forgive me, okay? Note. Here, do you see here? Because this is 0, 1, 2, and when I add a 9, right? You get a 9, and here we got it's going to cause the problems. You have 60 empty elements, and you will make your performance. Because the V8 engine, when you create an array, it's gonna have a holy array or field array. This one we call the holy array, which means you have some element empty, and it's gonna slow down the performance. Okay, and that's another interesting. Okay. So when we actually have 4 elements, right? We only have 4 elements, right? But when you see the size, is it called size or length? Or length, okay, you call it length. You will have a 10. So JavaScript, the array, the length of the array is actually not the length, how many elements? It's actually the index plus 1. So this one, take a look at the length, is actually the index plus 1, which is the last index plus 1.
Are we able to count the elements?
You cannot. You have to use. You cannot directly count like a 4, because the way you add, you are using directly in index. You create a holes there. So in JavaScript, when you want to add the elements inside the array, we recommend use push or use unshift based on your requirement. Don't use index, because if you are not careful, you're gonna create a holy array. Okay. Those are similar, like other similar like Java slice, toString, or unshift. Oh, here. You guys should be familiar with this one. Map filter reduce, same as Java's, okay, which is a higher order function. Okay, do you remember? But it do have a difference. Okay. What other country? Eritrea? There's a country called Eritrea, right? But I don't know how to spell. Okay, let's have another Egypt. Egypt, I can spell. Okay, so let's say I have put a Vietnam here. Okay, let's take a look at the map filter reduce. Okay, The first we show you is using function because we haven't learned arrow function. We'll see arrow function in a minute. Okay, so suppose I want to get all the letters. I want to get all the countries. It contains A. This character A. And here in the filter, it accepts a function. I just show you how to define function, okay? Well, I forgot, okay. In which example, use a function keyword, right? Then you have function here. And the first element is the first value, each first parameter, when it do the filter, it will always give each of the China, US, Canada, each element, okay? And the second one is index. Index is gonna become 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it do have another one, which is ARR. This ARR gonna represent the entire array. Let me first show you, okay? I just do like this way and execute. You see here. The first element, ELEM, is gonna be China, US, Canada, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Egypt, Vietnam. You got me? And this is index gonna become the index of each like a 0, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The last one is always the entire array give to you, based on what you need. Okay, you need. And now here you do condition. Filter, right? You have to do condition like a return what's thing, ELEM dot, we do have contains, right? Includes. In JavaScript string, Java string have a contains contains method, right? Here called includes, okay? Different name, A, okay? And now this is another difference from Java and JavaScript. Java's filter and the map, they consider as intermediate operators. Unless you collect, you want to get the result back, right? But JavaScript, no matter your filter map reduce, it will directly give you the array back. So what you need to do is just to have another result. And this result will hold all the arrays. That's another difference from Java. Okay, so when we do like this way, you will have China, Canada, US and Egypt is being filtered. You got it, sir? That's another difference. Filter, it will give you the result. Same for the map. If I want to do map, we just do a map. You can continue because the filter give you array, right? Array also have a map method. Okay, map same thing, have a function and also three parameters. Okay, yes.
What does this parameters mean? Can I add more or delete in?
Wait for a second. Let me finish map, then I'll answer answer question. Okay, index and array. And if you don't need the index array, you don't need to write them here. Suppose this one I didn't use index array, right? You don't need to write it. The first element, the first one always is what thing? It's always the element, each element. When we use function, it's ugly. After we learn arrow function, gonna be more like a lambda, okay? But here, let's just show you. So now I turn map is converted one thing into another thing, right? So this element, each one is a string, right? I convert it into a thing, the length, okay? You see 5, 6, 8, 7. Okay. What's your question? Which line? Line 3?
Index array, yeah. I wanted the function.
This one?
What does they mean? Can I add more?
You can add more. You can remove. You can. What Muhammad, right? It's called Muhammad. Muhammad. Question is here. Filter here X is a higher order function. I expect an array, right? Sorry, for a function. Okay. So what are they? Maximum is 3, and if you have more, let me use another example. Okay, that's a good one. I will come to this one. Let's use another example. Okay. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And ARR dot filter. Here you have to give a function, okay? Filter and function by default when JavaScript to populate the first ask a question. Who is calling this function? Is the developer calling the function? Am I calling this function? No, right? It's who? It's JavaScript calling the function, right? So now JavaScript calling the function. So who is also JavaScript responsibility to populate a value for ELEM index and array, right? I'm not giving the value to ELEM index and array, right? So it's JavaScript give. So we have to follow JavaScript ask to the syntax. So JavaScript say the ELEM will represent what during the iteration, it will represent each element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The second one will always refer as the index. You got me? The last one always refer as array. So okay, you say okay, I want to have more. What's it gonna do? JavaScript say I don't give value to more because I only give 3. If you have more here, I give you undefined. Because I don't have values to populate. You give me more, I will give you. So if you have more 1, more 2, more 3, okay. All of them are undefined because JavaScript only populate 3. Got what I mean? But now another question Mahamud asked. Suppose, I want to give 1 here. What's the value of index? Element, okay. It's let me using this thing, okay. Because if I give 1, 2, 3, you will say it's the index, okay. Even though here I call index, but I only has 1, right? The first parameter in the function, it will always become what? Element, no matter the name you are given, okay? China, US, Canada. The second one always was then index, okay? Based on what you want, okay? Last one always entire array, okay? But if you want, I'm not sure you cannot do. If you only want to index, you must have you must have the first one.
So they're not like keywords. They can code anything. Index, element, and array. Are they keyword index?
No. You can do. This is like when we define a function in Java, a method in Java for the parameters, you can give any name, right? That's the same thing. I can call A B, but the A will always hold China, US, Canada. B will always hold the index. Okay.
It's traverse through the each and every element in the array.
Yes, of course. It will filter will do a loop on all of them and match the condition. If it match the condition, it will return.
Doesn't need any particular return type. So because we are not returning the list.
Yeah, here I'm just in testing. I'm just in testing.
So
you have to return a true or false here if you want to get the actual field to the value. Because suppose because now I just show you what each element represents, right? But now if I want to get the array, I want to get the result back. Then here you have to return true or false. By default, it's gonna be undefined. Undefined is false. Okay, so in the result, if I just do like this way, the result you will get an empty array. Battery hour almost there. Okay, we have to use afternoon to explain to URCM empty array. Because inside the JavaScript, if you have function and a function that doesn't have a return statement, by default, it's gonna return undefined. And undefined treat as a false. False means nothing in the result. Only the true part is gonna be in the result, right? You got me? And if I return true here, all of them gonna be in the result. The same as Java's. Here in the filter, you have to return true or false. Ability. No, you cannot. I just tried. doesn't allow this syntax.
It seems like me.
This one doesn't support. Okay. Okay. Filter map reduce SAM by reduce. There's one difference, which is about the what's thing? The best condition. Let's try reduce. Okay. I'll just do here. I'll put a reduce here. Okay. Numbers. Okay. Numbers 2. Same as Java's. Okay. Suppose now I want to get a sum of all the numbers here. I'll get a sum. You can use the reduce. Okay. Reduce has, let me see what's, what I forgot. There's a base condition. Java Lambda, the base condition 0, put it in the front or put it in the end. Front, then JavaScript is the end. Okay. We want to have initial value is 0. Like, oh, we want to do a product, we will have give it to 1, right? The base value. The JavaScript is a revert, is the opposite of Java. Java, if you put a front, then JavaScript is end. If Java is end, JavaScript is front. Okay, I just couldn't remember. Okay, so here also have 4 values. The first one, I just don't like to use a function. Okay, the first one is the init, which is initial value. Then next one, which is accumulated value. Let's do sum. This one sum. This one the each element value. And then this one is index. This one is array. Same as the filter map. Okay. Then you do what? Same. Return sum plus ELEM. We do have a initial value. I think it's put it here. Okay. Then you will get a result. Sum. Okay. And let's do it. Okay. If you don't have initial value inside for the sum, the first element gonna become the initial value. Is it a 50? 50? The 15. 5, 10, and 15, right? Okay. So the initial value is put here. Okay. Let's move on. Function. How to define function inside the JavaScript? Use the keyword function. Here, another difference, there's no return the type, okay? In Java, you have return type, right? JavaScript, no return type, okay? Let's say function demos, okay? Function keyword, no return type, just give the name. Suppose I call foo. And here, inside the JavaScript, in Java, when we give the parameters, we have int something and string something, right? Do you remember? Here, no, just give the parameter name, like arguments 1, arguments 2. No type, put it here, okay? No type, okay? And then what's your logic here? And eventually you have a return the value here. Suppose I return 1. You got me? And if no return statement, suppose I call this one. This is how I call bar, right? Do I have any return statement? Java has something called a void, right? Which is no return statement, but JavaScript is not. JavaScript will return undefined. Okay. This one you have to be careful, okay? You have undefined return. Okay. If no return statement, it's gonna be undefined. If you have return statement, then it's gonna be the thing you returned. Okay. So, you can suppose I have what should I let I equals 10. Yes, and then bar. Okay, still. Okay, if I return I, then it's gonna become 10. Okay. Yes, just take a look at if you have any return statement. If no, gonna be undefined by default. You can do alert, but I cannot do here because I'm using what? I'm using Node to run the code. Alert is a method inside the window, so I have to execute this piece of code using in browser. If I print something here, yes. See here, I print something here, right? The result of bar, which means what I mean. Doesn't what kind of statement you put here, no matter you alert, console log, unless you don't have what thing, return statement, the result of function call bar always undefined. See here, undefined. You can do other statement as you want here. But if you have a return statement, that's gonna be used. This thing we'll see later. But now let me show you what it is, okay? I will comment this one. Let's start from scratch, okay? Suppose I console.log. Oh, cool. I will see what's thing. I will see hi in the console, right? I just couldn't remember in Java. You got this one? You are still work, okay? Which is I call this function before declaration in the source code, right? And this thing we will learn later, okay? Called the hoisting, okay? And now next one, function expression. This way declare function called a function declaration, okay? There's another way to define function called a function expression. I will comment, okay? When you need just uncomment and do by yourself, okay? This is another way called a function expression. Function expression is what? I have a variable. And normally we assign variable is a 1, 2, 3, a hello string object, right? But here we give a function. Like let's go sum. How about that? And here I have a number 1, number 2. I return number 1 plus number 2. You got me? And then we call sum gonna become a function. Let me see if it give us a function. Okay, probably it will give us an object. See here, give us a type of function. Function actually is an object in JavaScript. Okay. Because it's a function, then we can do what? We can call it, right? We can call it, right? You also have a 7. Okay. But do you remember this thing? This thing? And here's the difference, okay? Just now, when I declare like this way, I can call, no problem, right? But now this one, I switch order, okay? Then you're gonna fail. See here. Okay, that's the difference between function declaration and the function expression. Okay, and we will see the reason later. Okay, but here I just show you to bring your interesting. Okay, interesting. Okay. Any question here? If no, we will have last one called anonymous function. Anonymous function is a function which doesn't have a name, and you will use frequently when we get into this course, this lecture. Okay, DOM events, because DOM events, when we attach a function, then we normally will give anonymous function because that function we are used only once. and we don't want to have a function. You can do, okay, you can define a function and put it here, or you can just have anonymous function, okay? Let's take a look at the anonymous function. I'll show you in a minute, okay? Just show you window.unload.html. And suppose here I have HTML5, and then here I have H1. Hi, and what I want to do is script, okay? When the browser finish loading all the content of the page, I want to have something doing, okay? You can give anonymous function, which is a function doesn't have any name, okay? And here I just do an alert, okay? Finished loading. And this is an event called a load event, and window unload, which means a browser finish loading, it will execute this function. You don't need to understand for now, because we're gonna finish we're gonna do it later. But the main idea is you have to understand what is anonymous function, which a function doesn't have a name. For this one, no need. When do you have return, or when don't you have when do we need to have return statement in a function based on your requirement? Okay, some function there's no need to have return based on your requirement. Main point. This one we already go through, right? JavaScript is a loosely typed language. It has types like Boolean numbers, okay, but does not have compile time type checking. That's the reason when you go to learn Angular, right? You have to learn another kind of not a language, a superset of JavaScript called the TypeScript, okay, which has the types. So you also have compiler time checking. JavaScript don't have. If you want to see if you have errors in your code, you have to run it. Okay, that is this one I'm talking about. TypeScript has. Programs must be cautious of automatic type convention. I will show you many. It will automatically convert into Boolean. It have falsy and truthsy. And also when we do logical operators, it will try to convert the string into the numbers to do comparison. It has a flexible and powerful array types. It can act like a queue. It can act like a stack, okay? And also in the JavaScript array, you can put any values as the element in the array, right? It's not restricted to particular type, and which thing you have to be care. And it has none and undefined, okay? To be effective JavaScript programmer, it's better to understand principle details of a language. If our awareness is established in the source of all the laws of nature, then our awareness will spontaneous to be in code of the laws of nature for a particular environment. We will see another one. We already see map filter reduce, but the code we are using there is ugly. We are using function, right? Later on, we will learn about arrow function. You are more familiar like lambda, okay? Growth of consciousness makes behavior simpler and more error-free because intention arise deeper level are spontaneous. How about it's already 12? How about the remaining thing we leave to the afternoon? Okay, because it's 12, we cannot finish. We give too much demos and we cannot finish here. So let's do group meditation, and the remaining we'll leave afternoon to finish, okay? And for some people, if you couldn't take the afternoon session, then watch the demos. And if you still have questions, you can ask me tomorrow. And unfortunately, we cannot go over the exercise, okay? Then we will find a time, probably Monday or next week to do, because tomorrow we don't have afternoon. Okay, and make sure we will talk about it more in the afternoon. So now let's close our laptops. We will do meditation now. Thank you, Aaron.